Love scars, love wounds and mars. Any heart not tough, not strong enough to take a lot of pain, take a lot of pain. Love is like a cloud, holds a lot of rain. Love hurts. Ooh, love hurts.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Alan's Horror World. My name is Alan. Of course, you guys already know that. Welcome back to my Halloween franchise reviews. After this movie, we have 2 to go, and then our ranking, and then we will be finally done with this series forever, hopefully. Unless I decide to re-review it again in like 10 years. We'll see about that. So today, we are on the final installment of the Rob Zombie era of the Halloween franchise. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. A horror movie that is so hated and despised by many fans of this franchise. Let's go ahead and get started. So Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 stars Malcolm McDowell, Scout Taylor Compton, Tyler Mane, Danielle Harris, Brad Dourif, and is written, produced, and directed by Rob Zombie. This is labeled as the most controversial installment of the entire franchise. Oh boy. A year after narrowly escaping death at the hands of Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is at the breaking point, pushed to the edge by Dr. Loomis's revelation that she's Michael's sister. Little does she know the unstoppable killer is back in Haddonfield, and, driven by visions of their dead mother, he is determined to bring about a bloody family reunion. So, yeah, like I said in the beginning of this video, this is the Halloween movie that is hated the most by die-hard fans of the franchise, besides Resurrection. Sometimes this movie is hated more than Resurrection. We're at what a lot of fans would say the ultimate low point of this franchise. Gonna have to say I disagree with that one. I have a controversial opinion about this movie. I actually kind of like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. It's not a great movie. It's never been a great movie, but I don't know. I always liked this one for some reason. I don't know, I kind of like it better than the first remake. Probably because it's the most different film of the franchise besides Halloween 3. Then again, Halloween 3 didn't have Michael Myers, so it was always going to be different. But in terms of Michael Myers movies, this is the most different installment. This is the one where Rob Zombie tore Delicious off of the character of Michael Myers and decided to do anything he wanted to do. And he definitely did that, we'll say it. But some of it is for the better. Some of it is also for the worse, because I will admit, there's a lot of problems with this movie. But we're gonna go ahead and get to quite a few positives that I have of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Starting off, I like the character development of Laurie Strode in this movie. I actually prefer her in this movie over her version in the first movie. I prefer her in this one because this is a girl who went through a traumatic experience a year ago. Well, actually 2 years ago in the director's cut, but we don't talk about that. We'll be getting to it soon. This is a year later. You're still going to be deeply traumatized by what happened to you. You were almost killed by your psychotic older brother, even though she did not know that it was her brother. Your friends died, and you were brutally attacked, and you had to put a bullet between this guy's eyes. And it turns out he's actually still alive and he's come to kill you. Obviously, you'd be pretty messed up after that, and you'd be having constant nightmares, maybe even some hallucinations. You're gonna be traumatized. And Rob Zombie explored that really well with Laurie. This girl is nearing the edge of insanity after what happened to her in the first movie. And I do think it's a realistic take on the character. It's just, I really like that about this movie. It's probably my favorite part about the movie. And Scout Taylor Compton, along with that, gives a terrific performance with that. I mean, yeah, at some points, she's not that good. And she's so whiny at times. But most of the time, she's great. But I'm gonna admit, I am slightly mixed with this as well. But it's not a mixed aspect. because I said slightly. There are parts where I really do not like Laurie, but at the same time, you're like, you gotta feel a little bit of sympathy for her. She's gonna act like this. She's gonna act closed off, snappy, sarcastic, hateful. She's gonna be like that because she legit just went through the most traumatizing thing she'll probably ever go through. So you may act like that. I don't know. You might act different than Laurie Strode, but this is how Laurie acts, and we gotta respect it. Next, I really like the score by Tyler Bates in this one. Not as much as his score for the first movie, but this is a unique score. The Halloween theme actually doesn't pop up until the end of the movie, and Laurie's theme is at the end of the movie, in the theatrical cut anyway. Love Hurts plays in the ending of the director's cut. But the Halloween theme does not pop up until the ending of both versions. So most of the score is just Tyler Bates' music, and I will give him a pass for this, even though this is a remake of the original Halloween 2. It's not really a remake because this movie is almost entirely different than the original Halloween 2. Because despite the first 20 minutes picking up immediately where the first movie left off and then having the hospital dream sequence, this movie has absolutely nothing to do with the original Halloween 2, except Laurie having to find out, oh, by the way, she's Michael's sister, which, by the way, is much better than in the original because Laurie actually finds out. In H2O, she already knew. What was that? So, here she actually does find out that she's Michael's sister, Angel Myers. So, there we go. But back to the score. It's very good. There are certain bits and pieces of the score that I adore. And it really fits Rob Zombie, gonna admit. But Tyler Bates is a very underrated music composer, like I said with Alan Howarth for the previous movies. So I really like the score in this movie. Also, this installment is probably the most dark and the most hopeless of the entire franchise. There's no sense of hope at all in this movie. You have the feeling that main characters are going to get killed by Michael. And I will give you a bit of a spoiler alert. At the end, well, I will say in the theatrical cuts ending, Laurie Strode is admitted into an institution after she kills Michael. She just loses her sanity completely. She does not overcome her insanity. She just succumbs to it. She succumbs to it and she is put into a mental facility. But in the director's cut, she goes to kill Loomis and police officers gun her down and kill her, and she has one last hallucination of being in a sanitarium. I think that's how it's supposed to be. Either she was killed and she had a hallucination, or she was just shot, she maybe passed out, and then she probably woke up in a sanitarium. We'll see. I have no idea. Rob Zombie never said. But this movie is very hopeless. It's very bleak, and I actually like that about this movie. It kind of needed to be this way. We never really had a Halloween movie that didn't have a happy ending. I mean, maybe Halloween Resurrection didn't, but it was a lazy jump scare ending, so that doesn't count. I've seen a lot of Halloween movies have a happy ending. Well, actually the original didn't. So, the original movie didn't. Okay, Halloween Kills didn't. Halloween 2018. Okay, never mind, forget what I said. But a very bleak ending, we never had that in the franchise until Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So there you go. Next up, the kills in this movie are pretty freaking awesome. This is probably the most violent installment of the entire franchise. I love how gruesome this one is. Although I hate Michael grunting whenever he kills people, he's going, ooh, ooh, ooh. I hate when he does that. There are kills in this movie that I genuinely love because of how disgusting they can be. I mean, maybe up until Halloween Kills, this is the most violent one, but hey, maybe this one is probably more violent than Kills. I'm not sure. Might have to watch Kills again, but I'm not going to be able to for a little while. But as of right now, I will say this is the most violent and gruesome Halloween movie of all of them. I love the nurse kill, and a lot of the other kills. I mean, it's absolutely brutal. Michael's not holding back. He is very angry. He's just gonna kill everybody. And he's gonna kill everybody in the most gruesome ways. And I really like that. Speaking of kills, speaking of Michael, Tyler Mane is more terrifying than ever in this movie. He's probably the second scariest Myers after, like, a certain interpretation of the character we'll be getting into soon. Tyler Mane is a very terrifying Michael Myers. I mean, oh my god. I hate the grunting. Like I said, I hate when he goes, ugh, when he kills people. Hate that. But I like how sadistic this version is. I like how he does not give a crap about anybody. He will kill you in the most gruesome ways imaginable. And I just love how this is a hateful Michael Myers. This is a sadistic, torturous Myers. And I really like that twist on the character. I mean, Nick Castle's Myers was never that brutal. He killed a few people in the original, sure, but he never really killed anybody that brutally. And even in the original Halloween 2, Michael did deliver a few brutal kills, but not to this extent. So, yeah. And also, Tyler Mane is probably pretty terrifying in real life. I mean, I heard he's a cool dude, but he's like, the guy's almost 7 foot tall, and I am like just barely above 5 foot. So that guy would be towering over me, and I probably would pee myself because I'd be so scared. Finally, the emotion in this movie delivers. This is probably the most emotional film in the entire franchise. And I'm going to give another spoiler warning because I'm about to give away a character death. Annie dies in this movie, and the scene when Sheriff Brackett finds her body is probably the saddest scene, the most heartbreaking moment of the entire franchise. And even the scene when she dies in Laurie's arms is equally as heartbreaking, if not more heartbreaking, because even though they treated each other like garbage throughout this movie, Laurie just lost a best friend, someone who was like a sister to her. Yeah, you're gonna break down if you see someone that close to you die. So, yeah. And also, if you're in Sheriff Brackett's shoes, if you are a father, you would never want to lose your children. So you would probably be crying too, because you could never bear even the thought of your children dying. You could never handle that. And Brad Dourif nails that perfectly. Brad Dourif is the best actor of the whole movie. Brad Dourif sells this movie. He is amazing in this movie, and he portrayed the scene perfectly. I mean, he portrays a man, a father in grief, flawlessly. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but he probably has children of his own. Yeah, he does. He has children of his own. He's got Fiona Dourif and some other kids. Obviously, he's a father, but yeah, that's probably why. He probably thought of his own kids, and that's what made him really sell the scene. So, gotta give it to Brad Dourif, and I gotta give it to Rob Zombie. He delivered emotion in this movie surprisingly well. I don't have any mixed aspects with this movie, so we're gonna go straight to the negatives. No boy, do I have some major ones. This movie is not perfect. I'll go ahead and say it. This is one of my least favorites of the franchise, despite all the freaking positives I just described. And despite the fact that I think this movie is good, it's still not great, and it probably will never be great. Let's just go ahead and get to the negatives. First off, the dead mommy and the white horse. What was that about? Come on. This was just an excuse to stick Sherry Moon Zombie into another one of his movies, because Rob Zombie puts his wife in every single movie he does. Why does he do this? I heard that he's doing a Munsters movie. I think it's a Munsters movie. And Sherry Moon Zombie's in it too. She's in every single one of his freaking movies, and this makes me angry. I mean, she's not a really good actress, okay? Like, every time he writes a movie, like, he's just like, hey, honey, do you want to be in this movie? She's like, oh, sure. And, like, that's the marketing point. Oh, by the way, my wife is in this movie. Go watch it. What? No. You gotta get actual actors, actual talented actors. Don't just stick your wife into every single movie you do, Rob. Stop doing that. Oh, and like I mentioned about twice earlier, Michael grunts over and over when he kills people. I get this is a new interpretation of the character, but really? Next, the dialogue is once again god-awful, okay? I cannot even describe how utterly disgusting the dialogue can be at times. Go to a scene at the beginning in a coroner's van with these two paramedics. explain it all to you, but I will not be showing this scene because it's freaking gross. And finally, I hate Dr. Loomis in this movie. This is the one time I hate Loomis. I hate him. I despise this character in this movie. Loomis is my least favorite character in this movie. Malcolm McDowell does fine with what he works with, but I hate his freaking character. He's so unlikable. He is so disgusting. He is a money-grubbing, sleazy, greedy douchebag who, even though he tries to redeem himself at the end, it doesn't even pay off because he gets killed by Michael in each version. Oh, and by the way, we'll go ahead and mention one of his deaths. Michael busts through a wall with him, takes off his mask, and Loomis is like, Michael, and Michael's like, die! And he stabs it. What was that? Come on! Die! I wanted a satisfying death for Loomis because of how much I hated him in this movie. Why do you gotta kill him like that? And why do you gotta... Seriously, the one word you say is die. Die? Really? Like, that's... Oh my goodness. I am so done. I'm done with this friggin' franchise. Why did Michael have to talk?
Oh, you're silly, Adeline. That was the best scene in the entire franchise.
Evil Adeline, shut up. It is not a good idea for Michael to talk.
Oh, obviously you don't know the character of Michael Myers. I mean, he talked in the first movie, and at least in the end of Halloween H2O, he was supposed to speak in the script.
You guys, hold on one second. I'm gonna go deal with her right now. So overall, guys, I personally think Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is a pretty good installment. It's not a great movie, but this is one of my least favorites. But only because of the several movies that are higher on the list. This is not a perfect movie. It definitely has its problems, but I do think it is kind of an underrated horror movie. I do recommend this movie, but like I said in my review of the first movie, you're either going to love this movie or you're going to hate this movie. There's kind of no in between on this one. You either love it or you hate it, and I'm just like, okay. I do recommend this movie, but only if you're watching a marathon of this franchise. If you want to just watch the 2 remakes, go ahead, pop them in. Go right ahead and do that. This is a decent movie, but it's not the best of the entire franchise. It will never be the best. It will never even be one of the best. This is I will go ahead and say, this is in my bottom 4 of the franchise. Not a very great movie, but it's still pretty decent in my mind. I'm going to give Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 a B-. So what do you guys think of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Let me know in the comments below. Do you love this movie? Because I actually do know a few people on YouTube that actually love this movie. You know who they are. Are you in the middle with this one? Which, I haven't really heard anybody say that they're in the middle with this one. Or are you like a lot of Halloween fans, and do you despise this movie? I am actually fine with that. If you despise this movie, I understand. There's things in this movie that I utterly hate. I personally do not hate this movie, but if you do hate this movie, that is perfectly fine. It is your opinion, but let me know in the comments below what you thought of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So anyways, guys, tomorrow, be looking forward to my review of Halloween 2018. And on Saturday, be looking forward to my spoiler review of Halloween Kills. And on Halloween night, this coming Sunday, be looking forward to my ranking of the entire franchise. Not going to be a very long video, like I've said previously. It's going to be like a few minutes long, just telling you each and every spot that I would put a film in. So, anyways, guys, I guess that's pretty much it. So, anyways, I'm Adeline. This is Adeline's Horror World. Of course, you guys already know that. I love all you guys to death. And until next time,